communication. The power of the pen is so important to any business.
At this moment, we live by the paper flow.
If you can write effectively, and if you can communicate your thought effectively, you've got much of your job done. Beyond Private Coach Inc. is my business. I am the owner and operator. It belongs to moi. If I am trying to get you to cooperate with me, whatever that is, and I can effectively reach you by writing the words that will impact your thinking and your choices towards what I'm trying to accomplish, then I know that at some point we're going to be in sync, and I'm going to get what I need, and you're going to be satisfied that you gave me what I need.
Workplace writing is writing with a purpose. It provides a record for the life of an organization. Without it, billing, payroll, and operations would stop. You'll find more information and practice lessons in the workbook chapter, A Process for Writing.
I know I'm like my own personal secretary and my own worker. It's like I have my own job within that vehicle, working for TCI, because I know, as they had mentioned, and it's just very important to keep the paperwork together because it's a large amount. You're exchanging, you're making contact with maybe 10, more people, 10, 11, 12 people a day.
This is a collection of all the doctors that are working in the area on the given days, where I assign each patient to a doctor's name.
Well, my paperwork is really mainly to know how many jobs are completed. Our technicians, what's been taken care of, and so we can know, exactly how much money is going out and coming in.
Within any business, people need to know what needs to be done when, and also what has been done, by whom and for whom. It's part of your job to communicate with other members of your work team. Writing is often the most effective way to do that.
I always keep a track of all my calls also, of what they were about, and all the calls that hang up, non-subscribers, hang-ups, or did I do an upgrade on that customer, install, what I did.
Ready to go to lunch?
Can't go. I've got to finish mounting this ad for the Yippee Chew presentation.
You're using that?
Mm-hmm. What's wrong?
Well, I was watching them do the boards for the TV campaign with this dog.
You're kidding.
No.
So I'm working on That Dog Won't Hunt, and Broadcast is working on This Dog Won't Hunt?
You get the picture. What are you going to do?
What do you mean, what am I going to do?
Well, the exec's on a plane to Pittsburgh, and remember, the creative team's in Toronto. They're not going to be back till tomorrow.
So there's nobody else?
You're in charge.
Well, this work order says That Dog.
That's how you want to play it.
You go in from the front.
One most important form that we use is our reservation form. The form keeps everything in order. I cannot possibly keep all of the information in my head. I need to, at any point in time, refer to who my customer is, where my customer is located, what time I'm picking my customer up, and I need to know their itinerary. So absolutely, you need a form to help you manage and to keep you organized. There's no ifs, ands, buts about that. But I fill out the form, yes, once the reservation or the order is made. Then it goes on this form, and I have a copy of this form with me while I'm performing that job. Actually, what this form does is a twofold purpose because it helps me generate my billing, my invoices as well. So you have to maintain a record.
And that paper chart is what documents every bit of information that a provider will need to provide ongoing care. The first visit, a chart is created.
The chart is important because it has all of the history of the patient from whatever clinic they've gone through. You know, hypertension, general medicine, family practice. It basically has the history of the patient, whatever medications they're taking, the copies of the prescriptions are in the chart. All of the visits from whatever clinic they've been here is in this chart.
I think you'd end up eventually causing a medical problem in a patient, sometimes a catastrophic one, just because you didn't have the medical record available. And the medical record has to be thorough and it has to be orderly so you can retrieve this information. But physicians I know say that you're there about 50% effective without the medical record. They're doing a little bit of guessing and relying a little bit on an 82-year-old's memory, and it's not the way we'd like to practice.
So you have no intentions of paying this bill? Well, Mr. Grimes, I'm checking your file. It says you signed for these 2 months ago. What, are they all dead? Well, how many are dying? Miss? Oh, so most of them are fine. Okay. No, I see. Along the west wall by Unit 6, right? Those were all junipers. It's funny, we did a SOA test there. They looked fine. I tell you what, let me look into this some more and we'll get back to you. Okay.
I try to make it simple for her. My job description, office manager / secretary.
So
and
it's
secretary, your duties
Don't go
for
away.
the big corporation is the same for a small business office.
She gets the information off of the seat that I left for the
Yeah,
night
she
before.
usually leaves the papers right here or either here. You know,
Things
what
she
has
has
to
to
be
type.
what has to be done, what files have to be set up, make a couple telephone calls, tell me what her schedule is for the day.
The point of paperwork is to record communication. It's a permanent record that documents a variety of tasks in the workplace. To be effective, writing must be accurate, well-organized, and clearly presented. Every company relies on this type of record keeping for accounting, scheduling, and planning.
Sometimes we tell the technicians to try to keep their paperwork because they get a yellow copy at the end of the day of what they've returned. And if something comes up missing, they have a copy. But sometimes some of these technicians, they don't worry about it. They throw it away, and then when it ends up, when Debbie comes chasing them for the box, they'd be like, where's the paperwork? And they'd be like, oh, I don't remember. This was like 2 weeks ago.
Well, we write daily notes, of sure, pertaining to the business. Oh, absolutely. Even on my desk, as 1 week I was away, and Mother cleaned up my desk, and she put together a folder, and on the outside of the folder, it's marked urgent.
Urgent.
This is what she does. She organizes me, and well, one of the things she reminded me that I had to file my annual report with the state of Illinois.
Our annual report.
Which is technically, it is very urgent. However, even when you miss the filing date, you have until November to actually do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Raul, do you think why the junipers at the Grimes place are dying?
Dying?
Yeah.
No.
Well, your name is all over this file here. You supervise the planning, right?
Yes, it did.
So that's the soil all over.
Yeah, I did the testing myself. It was pretty much the same everywhere.
You signed for the delivery? I mean, did you plant those yourself?
No, Selena, Troy, and I all worked on this one.
Oh, well, who planted the junipers near the west wall?
Troy, I think. Yeah, he signed right here. And Selena's doing maintenance.
All right, well, we've got a problem. Okay, let's just get out there and see what we can see. You bring the soil kit and I'll bring the file.
Okay.
All right?
Do it.
Whether you enter it into a computer or write it out longhand, business writing provides a paper trail. This can include forms such as work orders, timesheets, completion reports, and delivery slips. They all document work performed. It may also include business letters, memos, and calendars that keep track of events while they happen. A paper trail often begins with an agreement describing what work will be done, when it will be done, and when payment is due.
Maybe I could do both slogans.
But what about TV? I mean, there are other people working on this.
Well, it wouldn't be a lot of OT for everybody.
Can you authorize that?
I don't know. It's supposed to be approved by the creative team, I think.
I know. Let's call Reagan in the business office. She'll know what to do.
Oh, okay.
Who needs to know what? And how do you tell them? Using a process will make writing easier. Begin by identifying your audience, your purpose, and your format. Your audience may be coworkers, superiors, or clients. What you want them to know is your purpose, and how you're going to tell them will be your format.
Determining the purpose of what it is that I'm writing is really critical, because the purpose is going to permeate everything that's in the written piece of work. For example, this brochure, the purpose of the brochure is to give information about services that we offer at a clinic.
Okay, thanks. All right, Reagan says to write a memo explaining what we're doing and why.
No guts, no glory. Are you good at memos?
I type them all the time.
Oh, okay. Where do we start?
All right, memorandum. All right, who has to know?
Well, Warren has to do a second set of TV boards. And then there's the creatives and the account people.
And what about Reagan, since she asked for it in writing?
Okay.
I have to know who my reader is, who is going to be the audience for this particular piece of work. And I have to tailor what I'm saying to that person. I have to grab their attention, and I have to try to be skilled in the way of how I'm going to do that, because I'm going to try to get someone's attention differently depending on who they are.
Business documents follow a format so that readers can quickly understand what you have to say. Select the form your writing will take, such as an email, memo, business letter, or a report. Use existing formats as guides.
That looks good. Where'd you get that?
I just pulled up an old memo so I could copy the format.
Now, what should we say exactly?
From, let's see, Maddie and Janice.
You sure you want to put our names on this?
Hey, it's part of the format. April 4th. Yippee choo. This or that.
I first went to the library and I went to a section downtown called Business Services. I wanted to know and I wanted to read what information was on either limousine services, livery services, or chauffeur transportation services. Then I went on the internet to see what type of business plans had been proposed. And what I found out was that not only is this industry a strong industry, but the growth outlook is excellent.
Hey, so what do you got?
Well, the plants are definitely dying.
Right.
But the new soil samples still show a low pH. That's normal.
Okay, so where are we?
I don't know. Maybe it's the new construction. That's all I can figure.
Well, are there lime traces from new concrete?
No.
Well, let's just write Grimes a note and let him know what we found.
Why? I already told him it wasn't our fault.
Well, we gotta let him know in writing.
Yeah, but we don't know anything. What should I tell him? That we suspect it's his fault?
No. Just keep him informed so we can get it all on record. We don't want to blame him.
Why not? The guy never says anything. He just decides he's not paying.
Right, well, that's why I want you to write the letter so you can stick to the facts and keep it focused. This is not a collection letter, Raul. It's just for information.
You're the boss. I don't think it's gonna do any good, though. That guy's a pompous jerk.
Well, if everybody we did business with had to pass the personality test, we wouldn't have much of a business.
After you've determined your purpose, identified your audience, and chosen your format, begin to gather information that supports what you have to say. Look for specific examples, facts, and details.
Say if somebody asked me to just fax them a little blurb about Elan Private Coaching, what sets us apart from other businesses, one of the first things that I would tell them is that we are focused on the needs of the corporate female traveler. And many times the female traveler will have to engage in other last-minute responsibilities. This type of service is invaluable to women. I've got a customer who one day she was at home, she's on vacation, her boss calls her and tells her she's got 2 hours to get downtown from a northern suburb to present a case to one of their clients, and since this was her project, she was the only one that could do that, she had to come. Well, she had a 3.5-year-old at home. It's 11:45. Who is she going to get to take care of this 3.5-year-old while she comes to work for maybe 2 hours? She called me. She told me about her dilemma. I told her, look, you get dressed, you get your child dressed, I'll come pick you up, drop you off at work, and for that hour and a half, we'll go over here to North Pier and mess around, go to McDonald's. By that time, you'll be finished, and I'll come back and pick you up. I mean, that was such a lifesaver for her. And doing in the business plan, of course, the first writing is definitely the draft, and we know, basically for me, I just wanted to get down ideas. I wanted to get down ideas, and I wanted to get down information flow. The earliest draft was handwritten, because I'm the type of person I have to write my thoughts out on paper first, then I type it. Mm-hmm. But once it got turned over to Mother,
then I'm just the opposite.
She composes
I had to type it first.
Right.
You know, I go right from my head to the computer. You know,
so once it got typed, all the revisions were pretty much. I would take the draft and put in the revisions, and then she would take it and go to the computer and make the changes.
When you write your first draft, give yourself the freedom to figure out what you want to say. Write down everything you think you might use. You can take out what you don't need later. It's easier to cut than to keep adding.
Depending on what it is that I'm writing, I'm going to go about revising it in different ways. If I was to go through a pretty extensive manual like this without revising it, it would look totally different than it does right now. This manual probably has gone through about 20 revisions from start to finish. It looks completely different than when I started it.
You better take a look at this.
Oh, yeah.
What? Here's presentation tomorrow. Headline and print different from TV tagline. What does this mean?
What do you mean, what does that mean?
Why are you asking me to work overtime?
Well, yeah. How else are you going to get 2 versions of the TV boards mounted?
Well, it doesn't say so.
How about mount room staff will work overtime as needed to complete materials. How about that?
Perfect.
Okay, let's spell check this baby and send it out.
Read over your draft. Does it say everything it needs to? Does it say too much? Put yourself in the reader's place. Make sure you've stated the problem, the support information, and the action needed. Show your work to someone else if you can. Sometimes a second pair of eyes can see what you can't. Once you've revised your work, proofread it carefully for grammar and spelling. When it's as clear and error-free as possible, send it out.
How's this? We've taken new samples along the west wall that show conditions are excellent for juniper. We still don't know what's killing the plants.
Good, good. Now, what do you want him to do?
Nothing.
Okay, tell him.
Tell him what?
Tell him he doesn't have to do anything until we contact him again.
But he still owes us money.
I don't think he's going to pay us for dead plants, Ralph.
Well, fine. So why tell him anything?
Because he'll know that we accept that agreement until we can figure out how to solve this problem.
Okay. We will hold your account open until we can complete our investigation.
Good, good, good.
My customers and clients are my business, and you don't want to alienate them. And the customer, to me, in most cases, is always right, even when they're wrong, because they do have their feelings and they do have their way of thinking about things. Now, when they're very, very late in paying me, I am not pleased with that. I am not happy with that. But for those who still pay, you know, I just have to let them know that I would appreciate it in a much more timely manner, just as I service them in a timely manner. And, you know, but I don't want to rip relationships because I'm still in the process of building, and much of my business comes from referrals. The only time when we might disagree, I think sometimes if we're doing a letter, that would be about it. If we're doing a letter and I say, well, no, you should say it this way, and she said, well, no, you always do it this way.
That's our biggest argument, because her style of dealing with things is much different from mine. I'm much more, you know, hard to.
She's gonna knife you.
Yeah.
As a writer, how you say something is just as important as what you say. Workplace writing is best when it's factual, when it sticks to the main point and is written in a matter-of-fact or neutral tone. Use business-like language in a clear and brief way. Ask yourself how you would react to what you've written.
I think that no two people approach the task of writing in exactly the same way. There are always the steps involved in writing of the idea and in revising what's being written, along with doing the research that's needed. Any good writer is going to do that, as well as knowing who the audience is. But everyone approaches writing with their own background and their own style.
I'm very cautious about the language that I use. Mother, on the other hand, gets right to the jugular.
It gets to the point where I get angry because people keep coming to me and they're angry with me because they didn't get their message. And they come to me because I'm the mail desk and I give out messages. And everybody else didn't give their message out, so they'll come to me. It just makes me mad. I get to the point where I'm angry, so I'll write a note and I'll give it to everybody. I'm like, this is what you should do.
I want to grab their attention immediately if I can, because if I can do that, if I can find some way to pull them in to what I'm saying, then it's a lot easier to keep them there.
Workplace writing always needs to stick to the point, be neat, free of errors, and clear. When you're confused or upset about something, writing gives you time to organize your thinking so that your words can get results.
Please remember to check messages when guest checks in. If they have mail or a fax, please come to the mail desk and get it for them. Don't have them walk all the way down after waiting in line. It is rude.
Writing is an important part of any business. From filling out forms to writing memos and letters, writing provides a communication trail among employees, customers, and clients. Focus your writing on its purpose by using a writing process. Choose your audience, purpose, and format. Gather the facts, draft, revise, proofread, and distribute. Take the time to improve your writing skills as you move along your career path.
The written word is so powerful that sometimes it has an impact in ways you don't really think it will. There was someone who came up to me after they'd read a passage which referred to how not to be afraid of saying, you know, I'm going to go for a walk if you're talking to somebody who uses a wheelchair, because it's just sort of common language and just the way that people talk, and that seemed to stick with him. So this has had a real impact on somebody, and it's going to change the way that they might think just a little bit. So if I'm doing that on just a small level for people, that's a really powerful tool, I think.
This is PBS.